All right, guys, so it's that time. Let's talk about some opportunities. Let's talk about how we can get you making some money. Let's begin by looking at my current 2023 year-to-date performance. We're sitting at 19.29%, right? So absolutely crushing it. Now the question is, how do we get it from here up the next 3, 4, 5 percentage points in gains? It's very easy. Right now, we're going for a period of volatility in the markets. And what that's doing is that's putting pressure on prices across the board. So I will be remaining net long, taking advantage of the sweeping volatility that we're seeing. And when we get that recovery, that stabilization, that is going to push the portfolio up 2, 3, 4, 5 percentage points. Okay, so that's where you're going to see the next leg up in gains. My goal is to get you guys to be sharpshooters in these markets, to spot opportunities, take advantage of them, and just know exactly what you're doing and how to move and maneuver in these markets, right? That being said, let's jump into the SPY, guys, because in my last video, I spoke about the SPY and how important it was, because the SPY has dropped since my last video. SPY currently is sitting 442. If you guys remember, I said we are 70% likely to break through that 445 demand level and move towards the 430 in the near term. Okay, so as you guys can see, that's starting to take shape, moving down. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important because that's gonna govern where the majority of the market goes. Okay, so if the SPY moves down, 90% of assets out there in the market are also going to come down and feel the pressure in prices. So it's important to have a gauge on where that overall market is, because then that just puts things into perspective. All right, so we should be heading towards that 430 level, and that could continue to put further pressure on prices. As we go in and look at some of these individual names, you'll see that, yeah, there's more room for them to move down to certain levels. But then all that does is it just creates massive, massive opportunities. And I want you guys to take advantage of these opportunities that are out there in the markets, right? Take full advantage of them, make money off them, just repeat and recycle, all right? So that's where we're heading for the SPY. Looks like we're heading in the short term for that 430 region. But at 430, I've told you guys, we still are in structural support. We still have buyers. We still have very nice price structure for the SPY. So I do expect buyers to come in heavy and aggressive, right? To save the SPY, save the market at around that 430 level. That's why it's so important right now to be keeping tabs on the markets, because this is where you can strategically go in and make those moves. Okay, so that's where the SPY is. Now in this video, I want to focus on the titans of the market, some of the heavy hitters. It's super wise, right, and very important in time like this where prices are coming down, to have a gauge and an understanding of where the big boys are, right, and what they're doing and where they're moving. So let's start off with Tesla. No stranger to anyone. Tesla has dropped 20% off its high that it put in back a couple of weeks and months ago, right? It's dropped off 20%. So right now, obviously, it looks like the sentiment around Tesla is negative. But here's the thing. When you see stock like Tesla move down 20%, there's a couple of things you want to be doing, okay? The first is an identification of where you have support and demand. So we had that level of that 235. That was a level of demand. Obviously, right now we're sitting at 232. It's come down below that level. Okay, so now Tesla is in a weaker position. Okay, if it can't reclaim that 235, stabilize and move higher, it's in a weaker position. So the strong likelihood is that we see Tesla move down towards the next level of support, which is at 215. Okay, 215 to 210. That's a critical level for Tesla. That's where you're going to get a lot of demand. That's where you're going to get a lot of buyers coming in. When you see a stock moving down, you want to see how far it's retraced from its previous run up. Okay, so by retracement, I mean, let's say price has moved up like this. So let's say this is Tesla, it moved up like this to the high that it put in a couple of weeks ago, and now it's retracing. Okay, it's coming back down, it's retracing, coming back down, and there's certain key levels in terms of retracement that you want to be aware of, and it's moving towards that 50% retracement level. But the key retracement level for Tesla is the 60%, and 60% is around that 215. That's why 215 is so powerful, because it's a level of support, but it's also that 60% retracement level. So you get a lot of eyes on Tesla around this level looking to buy. Now, because you know this ahead of time, you can enter into moves, get into certain plays, run your strategy, and then you can make money off that just by being prepared and knowing in advance what price is going to do. As I said, I'm trying to get you guys to level up your game when it comes to recognition of chart structure, price levels, and anticipating and forecasting with extreme accuracy what price is going to do, right? That's my mission, and we'll get you guys there. So Tesla right now sitting at 232, strong likelihood we're going to 215. Now at 215, I'm looking to roll out different moves, okay? Because this is where I'm expecting the buyers to come in. That being said, guys, you know, there's multiple ways you can take advantage of prices, okay? A lot of you guys might think that you just buy stock. No, there's levels to this, okay? You can buy stock, you can buy puts, buy calls, sell puts, sell calls, enter into credit spreads. There's a lot of different moves you can make. And if you don't have an understanding of all these moves, guys, you are literally leaving thousands and thousands and thousands on the table. Okay, so you want to make sure that you understand the different strategies that you can roll out on these different stocks and assets that are out there in the market. Otherwise, you are literally just leaving thousands on the table. Okay. So there's tons of moves to be made around that 215 level, okay? And a move that I'm looking to get into pretty heavily around 215 is selling of puts. I'm not going to go into the specifics of what exactly selling of puts is. I'll do that in another video for those who don't know. But that is a key level where I'm going to be rolling out that strategy and other strategies, okay? Now, let me put you guys on a little bit more game here. Some of you guys will be like, I want to also enter into strategies such as selling puts on Tesla, right? But I don't have the capital to do so. Yeah, you do need a fair bit of capital to actually sell puts on Tesla, right? But take a look at this. Take a look at TSLL. How many of you guys knew about this one? Okay, TSLL is much cheaper. This is a $14 stock. But this is a 1.5 times ETF on Tesla. I'm putting you guys on serious game here, okay? So that means that, let's say in a day, Tesla moves up 2%. Well, the TSLL, will move up around 3% because it's 1.5 times the movement of Tesla. But it's much cheaper. So that means that it requires much less capital when you're rolling out certain strategies, right? Like selling puts, for example. You can go ahead and get into this instead because you require far less capital. It gives you that flexibility, and it can also work at accelerating your gains because this is a 1.5 times movement on the actual Tesla stock price. Guys, hope you guys are taking notes. I'm putting you guys on serious game here, right? So TSLL is now one that I'm tracking very heavily, right? And this is getting to a very, very nice price level. Once this gets to around that level of that 1350, that's when I'm going to start rolling out and executing certain moves, right? And look, to get into all these moves, just hit that top link in the video description. You can join, you can enter into every single move that I make, right? And also get access to all these price levels that I post up for the guys over the Discord every single day so that you are one step ahead of the game. Otherwise, if not, you are literally leaving thousands and thousands on the table, guys. The market is an absolute money-making machine when you know how to take advantage of price movements, right? Let's talk about another heavy hitting play out there in the market, and that's AMD, all right? AMD is semiconductor stock, as you guys know, again, one that should be very, very familiar, but it's currently sitting at $111. It's come down around that 15% off its high. Okay, again, another heavy hitter that's moving down. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through the step-by-step process, right? The first one is identification of levels of interest. Key level of interest is 102. Guys, get your paper and pens out. Note this down. 102 is a key level of interest for AMD, because once it gets to 102, that is where you're going to get buyers coming in. You're going to get heavy hitters coming in, placing orders and creating some stability and a push or a bounce from that level. Knowing that in advance, you can get into certain moves and capitalize on that, right? There's a range between 102 and 95. That's where I'll be rolling out moves on AMD heavily, right? 102 to 95. That is where I'll be rolling out different moves across the board on this play to take advantage of it, right? As I said, if you're not aware of this, and if you're not aware of the ways that you could strategically take advantage of these types of price movements and this type of market opportunity, you are literally leaving thousands and thousands and thousands on the table, right? So I'm waiting for that 102. It is coming. It's definitely coming, guys. 102, that's where you're going to get buyers coming in. So that is a key level to start making moves. And again, there's several moves to be made across the board on AMD, just like Tesla as well. Now, let me put you guys on some more game, okay? One thing that I always do before I make a move on an individual name, like an AMD, is I check the industry ETF. The industry ETF will also give you a picture, the overall picture of what's going on. So let's say you have AMD moving towards a structural level of support, and the industry ETF, which in this case is an SMH, that's also moved to a structural level of support. What's that telling you guys? That's telling you that the majority of the market is all doing and showing and saying the same thing, meaning that the reaction that you're going to get from that point should be very powerful, 7, 8 times out of 10. So that gives you even more reinforcement to make the move. Okay, so that's one thing you should do. Look at the industry ETF, just keep tabs on it, and again, understand the industry ETF's levels, and if we're at a level of demand, a level of support, that is going to give strength to the overall industry, and that's why and that's what creates these powerful push days. You know, these days where you see everything's up like 5-10%, right? It's because the whole industry, the whole space, the whole sector was all at a very important, powerful technical level, right? And that's what created that momentum, and that's what gave you that broad-based movement across the board, right? So these are the types of things that you want to know. These are the types of things that are going to get you guys leveling up in the markets and just making a hell of a lot more money, all right? So guys, these are two very powerful names that are moving to extremely interesting levels where very powerful moves can be rolled out and will make a ton of money.